Welcome to the Product House special bonus episode. So last month, it was Men's Health Month. We actually had a really good conversation with our friends Will to talk about mental health. And for our listeners, this actually becomes one of the most listened episodes for the podcast for Product House so far. So this actually tells us how much this topic actually resonates with people.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me back, guys. I'm really happy to be here again. Like Charlotte was saying, I particularly received a lot of messages of support from friends and family, and we're going to take some time out this episode to talk about that feedback and share it with you guys. And we hope you enjoy listening.
Will, it's great to have you back for this special episode. Could we hear from you some of the feedback that your friends and family have shared?
A close friend of mine shared this quote, and it goes by, "I think there's a deep entrenched societal expectation, a gender-based role assumption that's made of men to be the head of the household or to be the breadwinners. Whilst these norms have slightly eased, thankfully due to the rebalancing of gender-based expectations from feminism, I definitely feel that these norms are still quite entrenched. Because of this, men often find it hard to open up and show vulnerability, which actually compounds the issue, as one of the best tools to address mental health is simply just to express and engage with it." Yeah, that's the quote, and I thought that was a beautiful, beautifully written piece of message, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, and definitely do resonate with it quite a lot. I think, thankfully, we're in a generation that actually has the space to think and talk about those things compared to kind of those that came before us, even kind of one generation ago. I think it also needs to be recognized that it's still hard to do so, right? You have to find the right time and place to do it. Hopefully, maybe it's easier for those that kind of come after us as well.
Yeah.
But this is the starting point. So we have two men on this podcast, so we're talking about it. And then so I feel like definitely it is like a change. It's about the first step. And it's really not easy. Probably not only for men. I think it's for anyone to take the first step to be vulnerable and open space with each other. And I just remember some of the example, I think, Will, you were mentioned about in some of the coaching session, you normally you will be the person to show the first step, provide a safe space, which I actually stick with me. I said, oh, this is such a good tips for basically anyone if you wanted to make progress with any conversation.
Yeah, that's a good one, Charlotte. Thanks for picking up on that. Yeah, and maybe it's small steps, not a massive step, and maybe it's just one revealing of how you're feeling for the day. Create an initial connection, and if it wants to be a deep connection, often it requires a little bit of vulnerability and telling them, hey, you know what, I'm actually not feeling that well today. Work's been tough, or my kids are driving me mad, and it just shows to them that you're human, and they're likely going through the same. And things, I guess, open up from there.
Some good tips. Hey, what else did you hear from your friends and family?
Yeah, this one was good. This was about generational change. So here it goes. It says, "I like how you all mentioned that the younger generation is becoming more in tune with their emotions. And I just wanted to reflect on this because I often hear others at work comment about younger generations, namely how they're all snowflakes and that they have much less resilience than those from older generations. I think there's a real danger in this sort of thinking and commentary. Example, well, I suffered this or endured this much crap, so those who come after me should also go through this." And it continues, "So this sort of thinking is particularly damaging for the progress being made on the mental health awareness, and unfortunately runs rampant and deep in the corporate world that I've experienced." And I thought, wow, that's a pretty cool line of text there.
When you're reading it, my heart kind of just like shake a little bit. I feel like it's really to the point. It's a really good point. So there's one thing actually come to my mind just when you're reading through is the word empathy. How do we be able to build a bit more empathy, like between different people, not necessarily a generation, just different people, and how do we create a bit more curiosity about other people's life? I think that's kind of the homework
Yeah.
we need to have to think about. It probably can also start with ourselves, a bit more kind of a reminder to be curious about other people, to thinking from the other people's shoes a bit more.
Yeah, nice. The empathy thing really struck a nerve. My default was like, oh, why are they kind of talking about us and them, right? And kind of when you dug into that, it's kind of a really good reminder. It's not even just like the old and the young, right? It's just people of different opinions and backgrounds, right? The other thread that kind of came to mind was I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday around, you know, the kids growing up now, actually, they're a reflection and a response to the upbringing that the generation before them provided, right? And so the person who made some of the kind of snowflake-ish comments, it'd be interesting to kind of contrast the background and upbringing that they had. You know, I come from a migrant background as an example, and as migrants, you came over starting with nothing, therefore you have to try very hard to succeed in order to make a living, right? Whereas I'm very conscious my kids, as they're growing up now, they won't have the same pressure that I would have growing up, right? And so they're probably a lot more privileged compared to kind of how I grew up. And I do wonder whether that's robbing them of something in growing up, right?
But they probably have different other type of struggle that you are
Yes.
not aware
Yes.
of as well, about the stress, about the expectation on them, and then any other feedback?
Yeah. There was a bit of feedback on the AI, guys.
See?
It's a hot topic, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
hot
know.
topic. Yeah, that's it. And one particular listener said, hey, for me, it's the ultimate self-improvement hack, and it's super personalized. I started out of curiosity, and I know the more that you use a tool like ChatGPT and so forth, the more it knows about you and can give you responses that even one may not be aware of. And he puts in brackets blind spots. He also says the other is the ease of use and how you can access it whenever you want. And I guess he's saying, you know, you can be on the computer, you can be tapping away at your AI, you can be on your phone and so forth. But ultimately, it becomes your sounding board. And he shared with me the prompt that he used, and you know, if it's okay with you guys, we can definitely share it in the show notes. But yeah, love to hear your thoughts. I know it's a topical topical view and topic at the moment, so love to hear it.
I'm interested to know if anyone on this call actually using ChatGPT for asking some personal mental related questions.
For me, no, Charlotte, no.
Not yet.
I'm fortunate enough to have a community that we talked about to sort of help, you know, go through my therapeutic journey. I have a close colleague as well who helps me with that. So, you know, for me, I don't feel the need for using AI. I use AI for, you know, a lot of personal projects that I work on, a lot of maybe work, you know, related projects. You know, I'm curious though. I'm curious. It makes me curious. Look, maybe I'm a little bit old school. I don't know. Maybe.
I have to admit, I have asked it, and purely from a place of curiosity, because I'd like to know my blind spots, which I have a lot of, and quite interesting, nothing surprising, but just like asking the same question to a colleague or a friend, right? The side of you that they know is a very one-sided view of your whole life. It's not a descriptive of you as a person in general, right? It's just the information you feed them, or, you know, if you're talking to a friend, they know you as a friend, or a colleague, they know you as the work person, right?
I use them too, so that's why I actually like. Of course, we'll put a big disclaimer like afterwards, because when people actually need mental health, we probably would still go to see a actual professional. But in my situations, is I have a habit. I think I mentioned in the podcast. I do what they call verbal memo every day. So I like to I record my note and mood into an app, and I will talking through about my thoughts. But then that's the benefit of the app is it never talk back at me, which is I just be able to go through my thoughts. But then recently I realized the ChatGPT also they're even better. because now they have the whole voice like a version is you can talking to them about your emotion, you're just mumbling through. Sometimes they will play back a little bit in your thought in a bit more structured way. Basically to say, hey, I hear what you say, this is what you say, this is what makes you happy, this is what makes you kind of sad a little bit. This sounds like making you kind of looking forward for the day. And I do find that reflections useful in some situation. It's not all the time, but especially helpful when I have a lot of things in my head and I couldn't realize what frustrates me or what make me excites me. And I just feel like that when I have an emotion overloaded, and I'm pretty sure all of you guys probably experienced that kind of morning. You just will wake up, you don't know why. You feel like you probably feel like there's so many things in my head, but I don't know what's bothering you. And that's when I realized the ChatGPT is kind of helpful. Like when I'm talking things through, it gives me a little bit, almost like structure my mind a little bit. So yeah, so that's kind of my use cases of the ChatGPT, and that in that sense, and I do find it helpful. But if we go back to the previous things around, go back to professional help, is when I have a conversation with some of you guys and a lot of my friends as well, I realized people actually didn't realize Australian government actually have a 10 sessions of free mental health plan. So yes.
I didn't know this until you mentioned it earlier, Charlotte.
So that's something that probably I would recommend you to go to serviceaustralia.gov.au to have a look at it. We can definitely put the link in the show notes, because I actually using this like almost every year. So because I think I believe again, this might actually be wrong, but I think this is because Scott Morrison up during the COVID. I think that's when they become 10 sessions.
Wow,
I think before they
right?
might already have it, but it's a bit shorter. So how that works is you will go to your GP and do a quick kind of assessment. And then and then the GP based on your stress, anxiety, and depression, and then they will basically run the psychology for you. And then normally you should get 10 for free, but at the beginning they might only give you 6 with a particular goal based on your original score that you have. And then you can go to the specialist, and then you come back after 6 sessions. And then if they feel like you have improved, but you still need more, then the doctor will give you another 4. And this is like 10 session free per year. That's covered by your Medicare, which I found it very easy to get it, and I found it really useful. My psychology has been
That's
great.
good. That's so cool.
Free Healthcare Australia.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Exactly. And also Australia have so many other free kind of mental health support as well, like for all the one that you guys know, like Beyond Blue, Lifeline, they literally can call them out anytime and free of charge. And then they have a health professional on the other side.
That's so cool. I wonder, if someone who's thinking about accessing these services, what would be the first steps? Because I know when we try different things, and maybe going from your experience, something that's completely different, taking that first step is pretty challenging, isn't it? So I wonder if there's any tips for our listeners to, that we can help share that might make that step a little bit easier.
To be honest, step one is to be aware about you need the help, and then also brave enough to taking that initiative, and then commit to that initiative. I think this is the hardest part. Because logistic-wise, in Australia, it's actually quite easy to get access to therapy, because there's a lot of therapy if you go to just typing psychology and therapy online. Again, that's something that I learned a bit more during the process, is therapy generally, they are the people who are helping you to see through the previous life. Like they will see through your childhood, see through your trauma. And then psychologists, sometimes they help you with present, and coach, sometimes they're helping you with future. So because I've been through all type of different kind of support, and I realize depends on what you kind of needed, you can get different type of support there. You can either get a therapy, you can get a psychologist, or you can get a coach. So you can try find out what makes sense for you. Logistic-wise, really accessible. If you're at work, you can probably get through in the employee. There's also a ESP, I think it's called Employee Access Program. You also get free a psychologist there through work. You can get through your GP, as I mentioned, there's a 10 free one. And then you can get through, literally contact them directly, through their website as well. So there's a few different ways you can get through them.
We wanted to share what's one thing that's changed about your relationship with mental health since we've last chatted. Will, did you want to kick us off?
Yeah. Do you remember how we spoke about emotional health, much like physical health, like going to the gym and doing the reps at the gym to stay physically fit? I came across this digital app. It's called Gotcha for Life, mental fitness gym. And it does a daily notification on your phone. And basically, it's really simple. It's just a touch sort of. You just touch which emotion that you're feeling at the time. And they got some cool resources on how to manage life or the day-to-days and some really cool videos, which I found really relatable. Yeah, that's one thing that I took up after our chat. How do we stay mentally fit? And I guess me being a technology person, much like you guys, came across this app. Actually, I was having I was getting a coffee and it was on the wall, and I said, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I got out the camera and captured the QR code and downloaded the app. Yeah, maybe check it out, guys. Might help.
I want to go and get a waterproof phone or something like that, because the time that I usually have these thoughts is like when I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
Get the bathtub. That's another thing. It's really good for your mental health. Now in the TMU,
A bathtub.
a bathtub. That's like bad things. Like, well, I live in an apartment. Probably most of you guys already have a built-in bathtub, but I don't because my bathroom is tiny. And Patrick got one of these bathtub, inflatable bathtub from TMU. We thought we were never using it. I'm using it all the time. Every single time when I have so much things in my mind, I'm just going to have a nice
Inflatable
bath.
bathtub. I don't have a bathtub. I live in a reasonably sized house, but
I will send you
that's a good idea.
I will send you the link for the like a portable bathtub. It's amazing. It's really good.
Yeah, great idea.
dear listeners, as much as we want to be sponsored by Temu, we are not affiliated with Temu.
Yeah, but TMU, if you want us to sponsor you, let us know. Like we actually buy a lot of
Freebies.
stuff from you. Yeah. All right. So what other reflection we have?
Charlotte, did you want to share yours?
Want to share my? Oh, yeah. Well, I can. I think I did much less adventures. After the conversations we had, I realized I actually haven't have a real check-in with my dad, like about how he actually feel, how he's actually going with his retirement life. And then I actually haven't had this deep conversation with some of my colleagues and friends. Yeah, what about yourself?
Yeah, so for me, it just triggered a conversation with my wife, and this is why she's my better half. A lot of my friends are her patients, right? So she actually saw one of my mates who I hadn't seen in a long time, and she was like, could you get Kiet out of the house? Because he's been stuck in there. I work from home a lot, and he's like, he's been stuck there and hasn't seen the sun for a long time. So my mate reached out to me and said, hey, let's go for a hike. So that was yesterday. So I woke up extra early. I baked some bread, as I do every couple of weeks, and went for a hike nice and early. Came back, it was still in the afternoon, and I still had the rest of the day to kind of do my day job as a dad. So it was nice. It was nice to recharge.
That's beautiful,
feel
man.
energized as well.
That's beautiful.
Two things: friendship, relationship is important, and then and also I think vitamin D, some sunlight, outdoor times. Actually,
And also marrying well.
oh my god,
Marrying well.
very important. We will make sure this is in the episode highlight. Like
Probably
there.
a different
That's
topic.
amazing. All right. So I think this has been great. Like guys,
been.
this is like such a good special episode. We actually chat for quite a long time as well.
Yeah.
So
fun.
yeah. So maybe do we want to have a little bit closing notes to just helping the conversation going even offline a little bit with our audience?
Let's keep the conversation going, I guess, and let's all check in with each other. Hey Charlotte, when you were sharing your reflection earlier, it reminded me of a cool analogy which a close colleague of mine shared, and she described life as like being an F1 driver, Formula One, racing, and where think of life as going around many laps. Many laps, and these F1 drivers are driving, G-force, excessive speeds. You can imagine how tiring it is for them. But what really came across when she described the analogy was that you've got to take pit stops, and that's going in, changing the tires, getting fresh fuel in, having a bit of a time to reset. So I guess as we go along this emotional journey, let's not forget to take those pit stops. So if you're probably like me, who's sort of grinding away and hustling and trying to try and achieve everything in the world, don't forget those pit stops.
Thank you for sharing that.
I love it.
It's a great reminder.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Well, I think that's probably a really good place to stop as well, something thoughtful for us to ponder on. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the original episode about the mental health and actually open up to have these conversations and with us. And then also, if you want to continue these conversations, please reaching out to Product House, our old channels. We have a linking page now. And also we have our emails, producthouse@gmail.com.